How will all of these overnight cues impact our own markets? Our research team joins in with the trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course, the setup on the FNO side of things as well. Yesterday's session was a bit of a reset for the Nifty after the breakneck rally that we saw on Monday. The index gave up almost 40% of that with that 350-point fall that we saw yesterday. But there were two positives that came in. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But it was led mostly by the large cap heavyweights, be it the banking heavyweights, be it the IT heavyweights, and it was the Nifty IT that was the top sectoral loser in yesterday's trading session. It was led mainly by the large cap names, be it Infosys, TCS, Wipro. All of them were among the top losers in yesterday's trading session. The other pocket, though, that continues to shine has been the defense names, and they are the ones that surged yesterday. Bharat Dynamics was the top gainer. Garden Reach will be reacting to results which came out after market hours yesterday. HAL will be reporting results today. So the defense pack continues to remain in focus as well. What are the key levels that you need to watch? Of course, yesterday's low is the first one because we've closed at the lowest point of the day. That remains the key level to watch, which is 24,547 on the downside. We are appearing as a gap up start, but it'll be interesting to see if that gap up sustains. But the other positive was that despite that 350-point drop yesterday, we made a higher high on the charts. So, of course, with that higher high is now still a fair distance away, but it'll be interesting to see how the index shapes up. Now, the question to be asked is whether the index moved too fast on Monday, and then now we're seeing a bit of a reset as the week goes by. The temporary truce that has come in between US and China, will that impact fund flows? The markets, of course, are now looking for the next big trigger because the earnings season is drawing to a close. The border developments will be a key trigger, of course, and a potential India-China trade deal as well. So for now, a positive gap up is what the GIFT Nifty is pointing towards. It'll be interesting to see if that sustains. But Vinny now joins in for the stocks that you need to keep an eye out for today. Vinny, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning. So starting with the whole host of earnings that we have, Tata Motors largely in line set of numbers and above estimates. Actually, I beg your pardon, above estimates is what they've come in terms of numbers, but outlook is cautious, so keep an eye out of that. Margins have remained flat at 14.2%. Profits are down 51%, mainly because in Q4 FY24, there was a major tax credit that came in of around 8,219 crores. So that is something. That is why we're seeing an impact on the profit. Now, moving on, Bharti Airtel, a good quarter coming in for the company. Profits overall, yes, seeing a bit of a decline on a sequential basis of 25.4%. Revenues, an increase of around 2%, and margins are seeing a growth of, at around 57.2%. ARPU coming in at 245 rupees versus 209 rupees last year. Overall, we're seeing an impact coming in on a year-on-year basis. Why? Because Industar's consolidation that has come in 43 days of consolidation in Q4. So year-on-year basis, we're seeing that impact. Bharti Hexacom, overall, we're seeing an improvement in terms of profits, more than doubling in terms of profits, 468 crores versus 222 crores last year. Revenues up by 22% on a year-on-year basis, and margins at 51% versus 47%. So good performance from Bharti Hexacom. Siemens, on the other hand, we're seeing a muted growth of around 3% coming in for the company. Profits down by 37%. They've seen weak margins in the digital industry as well as mobility business, and the PAT of the company is impacted. Why? Because the base quarter had a one-time gain coming in, so that's why the decline in terms of PAT. Metropolis Healthcare, we're expecting a bit of a red coming in on the screens. Margins are at 18% versus 24.2%. Profits down by 20% as well, and revenues just up by 4%, so keep an eye on that. AB Capital, a decent quarter, steady quarter in terms of overall performance. NII is at 4.5%, so keep an eye out on that in terms of growth. Garden Reach, a decent number coming in from the company, 13.3% in terms of margins versus 8.9%, and profits also seeing a significant improvement. Honeywell Automation, also a decent quarter coming in. Revenues are down by around 5%. I beg your pardon, revenues are up by around 17.2%, but profits are down by 5.4%, so keep an eye out on Honeywell Automation.
Lots of stocks to watch out for in today's session, Vinny. Thanks for that. And Sudarshan now joins in with cues from the FNO space. Sudarshan, good morning. What's the FNO data indicating today?
Good morning, Harmaz. The data indicates that we are unlikely to see much upside from here. As far as yesterday's session is concerned, we gave up some of the gains that we had registered on Monday. We saw both Sensex and Nifty, including Nifty Bank, closing at day's low. But market breadth was in favor of advances, attributing to the green close for mid-cap index. Today, affecting the global cues, GIFT Nifty is indicating a gap-up start. But the question, as you told, that we'll have to see if we sustain the gap-up opening. And it's looking very difficult at this point because the data that I'll be talking about, as far as institutional flows are concerned, we saw FI selling. The number is very less. It's just 500 crore. But if you look at the derivative data, there in the index futures, FIs have sold almost rupees 6,700 crore, and they have reduced long positions by more than 25,300 contracts, and also they have added more than 11,300 short positions. And with this, FI's long exposure now reduced to 38%. On Monday, it was at 50%. And if you look at the option data, it indicates that above 25,000, it's looking very difficult for Nifty to go. That's the reason 25,000 call has seen addition of almost 61 lakh shares. And on the put side, 24,800 put has shed almost 24 lakh shares. Now, important levels for Nifty support is now seen somewhere around 24,400 and resistance at 25,000. One stock that I'll keep an eye on is Hero Moto, because on the valuation front also it's very cheap, and the Q4 FY25 results were ahead of expectations.
Hero Motocorp, and aside of that, also keep an eye out for the MSCI related names as well. Coromandel International and Nykaa, both of them have been included into the MSCI Global Standard Index, and expecting inflows of anywhere between $200 to $250 million when the rebalancing takes place on the 30th of May.